Hey guys, what is up? Daniel here, and I want to show you something. Now, with the release of Windows Server 2016 Standard and Data Center, so we're going to exclude Essentials, they included something. Now, what they included when you guys get your installation software and all that is this, and it pops up right here, Nano Server. Now, you can go to Microsoft and you could find ways to install it and all that, but they also did include a image builder for you guys, so you can create it on a GUI base. Now that's this guy right here. I just installed it and everything. Now, as you see, you do have to be an administrator to run it, and you have to have a legitimate Windows Server 2016 standard or data center to do it. You can use the 120-day keys, stuff like that, which is fine. And as you see, go to here. You can do create a new Nano server from scratch, or you can create a USB drive, a bootable USB drive to deploy the Nano server onto. So this one will be good if you're going to do it like virtual computers, or use the Hyper-V manager or Hyper-V to set up. And then this one is good if you're going to set up multiple racks and you want to have just the small operands, and that takes literally 500 megabits of data on those hard drives, and then you can deploy them as whatever you want. You can set up a file server and all that. Now, you cannot do Active Directory, domain services, or anything like that, but it still can do file hosting, Hyper-V, DNS, stuff like that, and I'll show you. So I'm going to just create a new server image. So you see, you have to have all this stuff. Now, I know where all my stuff is at, so my Windows Media Source is right here. It's on my D drive, which is my flash drive. I actually have a flash drive dedicated to that, and you see you have some license to read, and I'm actually deploy it as a virtual machine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just put it to my desktop as Nano. The reason why I'm going to show you that afterwards, like how to set up certain things. So as you see, it is going through. It's going to go through, check all the packages and everything. Now, what you want to do is go, if you have Active Directory or domain services set up with your DNS and all that, go to your computers, users and computers, and set up a new computer. If you don't know, you see, and then like this, and then you type in where you want your computer name to be. So for this one, I'm just going to type in Nano, and then I'm going to change. You can change whatever your thing is. So for now, I'm just going to change it to Enterprise Admin. So it's for me, it just means, because I'm in Enterprise Admins for all the SEMA stuff and all that. So now it's safe. So as you see, it's still checking all the packages and everything. So we'll give it 1 minute. Alright, as you see, it's showing up everything. So all the Active Directory packages are not here because it does not get supported by, Nano does not support that stuff. So, as you see, you can do containers, data center, bridging, DNS, Hyper-V, file server, web server, even or you can set up malware, PowerShell, stuff like that. But for me, I'm just going to create a basic, just no frills installed anything. Well, maybe I'll just do that, just to show you how that looks. Then, of course, if you need to install any driver specific to your server hardware or anything like that, if you're going to put this on a physical environment or physical hardware, you do that there. So stuff, if you have a 10 gigabit NIC card, stuff like that, or RAID cards or something, anything like that, you do that here because you won't be able to really do that once you deploy it, as it does give you a limited, a very, 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 very limited control interface. And the only things you can do with it is restart, shut down, check your IP addresses. It's just small things like that. So as you see, it does give you a destination machine. So as I said, you do need to put in stuff. So as I said, I want to name this Nano. I'm going to put in an administrator password. Now, I am going to have it join my network that I currently have set up with here, so I can show you how this looks. Now, on the next screen, you cannot, unless you're doing something where you have to manually set DHCPs or manually set IP addresses, or if you have a DHCP server set up, or you don't know what you're doing, keep it right here. If you have DHCP set up and all your stuff's already set up to go to that, use this. If you have a DNS or DHCP doing all that stuff, go right here, set up right here. I'm just leaving this alone because I'm going to let my DHCP server, which is my router, set everything up, and then go from there. Now, as you see from here, you can set up some more advanced stuff. Some scripts, file scripts and binaries. You could add servicing packages, so you could install updates and all that. You could set up emergency management services, EMS, or debug methods. For me, I'm just going to go with a basic. Now this is going to take some time, and I will come back after it is done. Now if you haven't, as I said, if you haven't set this guy up yet, do that now. If you already know what you're going to have your computer name to be right here, set it up now, so that way your Active Directory, domain services directory, and all that stuff is set up to recognize your server on that network. So now I have this set up to where my main network will read my Nano server that I will be placing on my Hyper-V manager. Alright, as you can see, that actually took almost a half an hour to build. Because what it's doing, it's actually making the image, it's building all that stuff, and it's creating this virtual hard disk. Now, from this point, you'll close the wizard, but you can actually save this part, create it to a bat file, save it for later use. Just remember, this max size is using the kilobytes, or not kilobytes, just regular bytes information. So if you go kilobytes, you times it 124 times whatever you want, but per one. For megabytes, it'll be 124 times a 10 integer. That's for megabytes, and for gigabytes, it's 124 times 1,000 integers, if I believe, or 1020, something like that. So, but you could save this, you can use this for later, or you could just use the Nano server image builder for later use. Now, two things comes up. You get this hard disk and this file, or this folder that has all the logs and everything, tells you how to do it all, tells everything that happened. So, some of you might be wondering, well, what's in it? Why is it only roughly about 500 megabytes? It's because it's designed to be compact, it's designed to be small. See, it's about 500 megabytes of storage, and this is all that's in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to eject this. So you can see it's roughly about 8 gigs. So I'm going to eject this. Goodbye. Bye. Thank you. Thank you. Bye. And I'm going to start up my Hyper-V manager. Now, some of you might be wondering, who is this good for? This is actually good for anybody. Anybody ideally. Big data centers to deploy massive amounts of operating systems and servers without spending too much. You can go data centers because if you utilize the data center edition of the Nano server, you get all the virtualizations, you get everything. So you won't be able to, you'll get all the hosting and highly virtualization environments, including support for shielded VMs, volume replications, and software-defined storage and networking. And if you are a small business and you have the Windows Server 2016 Standard Edition, you can utilize the Nano server. You won't be able to use it for virtualized environments, but you'll be able to utilize it for things like file sharing and DNS hosting and stuff like that. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new virtual machine. Now, if you're going to do it in a Hyper-V manager, you want to do some few things. First things first is to note that this is utilizing Generation 1. That's what I'm using is Generation 1. Now, start memory, you can keep it at 1 gig. That's what I like to use, but you can use dynamic memory, so it will go up, it will go down, depending on what you want. I'm going to keep it at a solid gig just because that's what we'll utilize. I'm going to use my network adapter, because I am using this off a laptop and all that. So now you go to where you have your Nano virtual hard disk at, the VHD. Next, and then finish. Of course, it's creating a new virtual machine, configuring everything for you. SCSI, IDE, hard drive, and inserted. Alright. Now, from here, as I said it before you turn that on, make sure what your Nano server is named. You have it here at the Active Directory Users and Computer section. Otherwise, it won't connect properly on boot. Just to give you a heads up, I am utilizing a Intel Centrino processor. This is a quad-core or Celeron processor, 2.16 gigahertz. I think this is a quad-core, if I remember. And the way to check is you can just open up Device Manager and check, see how many processors it produce. So let's see. I believe this is quad. So it's not really going to eat up too much. Oh, here we go. Let's see. Processors. That's what I want. No. So it's a dual. So just to give you a heads up, this is not a powerful laptop I'm running off of. This was like a $215 laptop with the broken screen. So that I turned into a server. So if you could run this on a computer that is less than $200, this is something that's ideal for companies. So something like this would be ideal for small businesses and stuff like that. And I'm actually trying to start a small business myself. So as you see, it does boot up. It's giving you the Windows symbol and all that. And this is what you will be greeted with. And I'm literally saying, okay, ATO. Alright, let's try this again. Car. And pin your password. Now it's going to log in. Now, I'm not going to put in my username and credentials in it just yet. I'll do it afterwards. I just want to show you what it looks like on the admin. So you see, this is literally all you get. You get your OS, you get your username, you get the domain, any network, if you need to change the networking, any firewall information that you need to change, and new Windows Remote Manager. Or management. Now, you can log in to it remotely. Let's say if you have a admin preference, you could log in if you set up everything correctly, as you see, but it's still going to give you the same thing. So you see my username is still the same. It just adds my domain at the end and everything. Now, I'm just going to disconnect off of here. Actually, where is it? Disconnect. So, right now it's still running in the background, but I have it disconnected. I just want to, so I bring this up now. In the Nanos and the properties. It will now bring up that it is, here's my DNS name, that's either a workstation or a server. For this, it doesn't say, because I can't modify it, and it is running a data center. It doesn't have my service packs or anything, and it does remember where it's at. So now, if I go into my server management, from our server manager, from there I can actually modify and control stuff from it, while keeping my footprint low. And it does work. You just go to manage, add servers, wherever your location is at, so you see it sees where it's at, fine, and then bam, and it reads it from there. I'm not going to add it because I'm actually going to delete all this afterwards. And as I said, it is great for if you're doing a huge virtualization deployment on a data center level, or if you're a small business and you just need to get 2 more servers up, one for DNS or one for file server, one for stuff like that. But remember, any and all Active Directories are not, or any and all Active Directory server roles are not going to be able to be installed onto the Nano server. They actually are get blocked. Oops, excuse me. So anything like this, ADDS, anything like that, you could install a DNS, a file, a storage services, Hyper-V, and IIS, which is the Internet Integrated Services, something like that. And if you need to, you can run it virtually. So remember that. There will be some problems, if you don't know what you're doing. So I recommend read through the Nano server documentation. Make sure you understand that. And as I said, it is very limited. And I mean very limited. I'm going to reconnect to show you. There we go. Just logging back. Now, if you're going to think about using this for your computer so your employees can log in and work, nope, this is what they'll be greeted by, everything. There is no GUI structure on here. They don't even have anything that's dedicated to it. They took out all the anything that's related to a UI. So this is all you have. These four just like control. So this is Nano server. This is what you can do, and it is great if you're on a budget. All right, Daniel. This is SFJ38 or Daniel with another server tutorial.